I wiped my tears as my hands trembled. I tried to compose myself while breathing slowly. I secretly get up because I don't want my raging husband to notice me again. But as I got up, I could feel my knees soaring from my husband's beating. He got angry over the pettiest thing. I wasn't able to answer his question because I was busy with my laptop doing my work report. He couldn't control his anger issues because he thought that I was ignoring him on purpose. That's why he fumed in anger. He almost hit my laptop, but he punched me instead. From the impact of his punch, I collapsed to the ground, and he even kicked my knees whenever I tried to reason with him. It has always been like this. Just in the slightest mistake, he would go mad. There were many times that I attempted to end our marriage, but he would threaten me every time. What's harder is that we are living with his mother, my mother-in-law, and she is fully aware of the abusive behavior of her son, but yet she doesn't care. She never barged in and tried to stop her son whenever he was about to hit me. She even verbally abused me every chance she got. But I know that two of them are wearing two faces because whenever my parents and grandparents came to visit us, they would act good and kind to me. And of course, they would blackmail and debrief me ahead of time that I should act normal, and if I throw them under the bus, they would seriously ruin my life. As if they can. My family is very influential. My grandparents on the mother's side have a generational wealth that dates back to the 60s. My mother's kin are well-known artists and musicians and are honored in the entire country. In short, they are rich and famous. They never wanted me to marry my husband James because, aside from being born from a different social class than us, he has a record of being mischievous. But we fell in love with each other in college, and here we are, married for almost 5 years. As the firstborn grandchild, it is expected that I will carry the family's legacy soon. The weight of my inheritance had me almost suffocating, but I had learned to carry heavy burdens. But so much for that, let me introduce myself. I am Emma, and I am trapped in a nightmare of an abusive marriage. My life has been in a hellhole from the day I said I do on the altar. How I wish I listened to my parents when they said that I shouldn't be marrying my husband, but he was so good back then. No sign of evilness could be seen in his whole existence, and I could say that I was deceived. James, my husband, is a master of manipulation, and his mother, Rita, pulled the strings from behind the scenes. I am certain of this. Both of them work together to abuse me even if I have done nothing wrong. They would constantly say that they were scammed into marrying me because I thought we would be rich once my son married you, but I was wrong.
That's what I thought so too, Mother Tusk. Marrying her was the biggest mistake of my life.
My husband said those words while looking straight into my eyes. I know they meant to use me for money, and I was nothing more than a pawn in their twisted game. From the early days of our marriage, James revealed his true colors. He would fly into uncontrollable rages over the slightest things, berating me with demeaning insults. Rita, his mother, always had a way of justifying his behavior, enabling his abuse and reinforcing his power over me. It is as if they are working as a team. They draw satisfaction in taunting and condemning me. It's not only physical abuse that they kept on poking at me, but also verbal abuse. Words like worthless, bitch, useless, ugly, and boring were some of the words that were already engraved in my mind. They often shout these words daily, and look at me right now, already immune to their cruelty and harshness. I recalled one particular evening when James's anger boiled over. I had accidentally spilled a glass of water on the carpet, and his reaction was nothing short of monstrous. He grabbed me by the arm and yanked me towards him, his face twisted with rage.
Are you out of your mind? Or are you just pure dumb and stupid?
Please, it was an accident. The pain shot through my body as his grip tightened, leaving bruises that I would have to hide.
There will be no accident if only you were mindful of your actions. You only have one job.
He held my head and pushed it to the ground, directing it to the carpet.
You see that? You made that mess. All you do is make a mess out of everything. Oh well, because you're a mess yourself.
Please, James, it hurts.
Do you think I care? Well, fuck that, because I don't.
He let go of me and I was pushed down the soaking carpet, and my face was wet. I got up immediately, but as I tried to retreat, Rita intervened, her voice dripping with disdain. You're lucky to have him. Lucky? In what dimension do being lucky and having a relationship with James have in common? You always give my son a hard time and even a headache. You are not good for him. She sneered at me, her words like venomous daggers aimed at my already fragile spirit. Of course, James, her precious boy, always came first. Oh, I just want to end everything. One day, as I was sitting in our backyard, I received a phone call from an unknown user. I was so surprised because I don't usually give off my phone number to random people, so I answered it. Hello?
Oh, Emma, this is Mr. Spencer, your grandfather's lawyer. I'm sorry to inform you that your grandfather has passed away.
I almost dropped my phone as I heard the news. My eyes welled up with tears and my voice trembled. Are you certain? I can't believe it. How did this happen? Shared memories of me and my grandfather came flashing back into my mind. The happy times and even the sad moments when I have to move out of the house because I chose to marry this monstrous husband of mine. I couldn't believe he was gone. Last month, he just visited me here in our house and was generous enough to lend me money for renovation. My ungrateful husband and mother-in-law kept on bragging about it to other people, telling them it was their money. There was a car accident. It was sudden and unexpected. I understand this is a difficult time for you. But I need to meet with you as soon as possible to discuss the details of your inheritance. As my eyes welled up out of disbelief, I remembered the wealth that I'm about to inherit. I know all along that someday I'm going to take over my grandfather's legacy and money. Yes, of course. I will be at your office tomorrow morning. As much as I don't want to discuss inheritance during these trying times, it is necessary and urgent to have the inheritance transferred to me immediately because it is in my grandfather's will. That's fine, Emma. Take your time. We can arrange everything when you're ready. But there is something that you need to know, that's why I'm insisting our meeting be urgent. I know you still have to mourn for your loss, but if only you can spare a little of your time, please do. And yes, I agreed with him. I don't know what we are going to talk about, but I know that is very important, and I don't want to waste time. We exchanged a few more pleasantries before hanging up. I took a deep breath, trying to process the news. As I gazed into the distance, a flicker of determination replaced my initial sorrow. I never expected this, but maybe, just maybe, this is my chance to change everything. The facade of my submissive role in this wretched household began to crumble after my inheritance. The news of my grandfather's passing reached my husband and mother-in-law. They were so shocked, even if they were faking it, at least I could sense the genuineness. They planned on sending flowers and visiting for the funeral service. I didn't listen to their conversation because I was busy packing, and for all I know, All of it is just an act, as if they truly care. They're only after my inheritance. James and Rita sensed the opportunity to exploit my newfound wealth, and I wasn't wrong at all. Suddenly, their treatment towards me underwent an alarming transformation. They showered me with fake affection, attempting to mask their true intentions. When we were at my grandfather's wake, they talked to my family with real concern about me. My mother in law told them how much she values me as her daughter in law, and that she was so grateful that her son married me. Oh God, save me from all this fakeness. My husband even tried to do skinship with me. He kept on holding my hand and wrapping his arms around my shoulders, showing my family how close and loving we are, but my reactions and body languages say otherwise. Oh, I just want to get out of this hellhole. And I wasn't fooled. Beneath their feigned kindness, I sensed their greed and manipulation. Their sudden change only served to confirm my suspicions that they were only after my money. Just like the vultures circling their prey, I became determined to uncover the truth to expose their vile scheme. The next morning, my grandfather was still laid at the funeral house, but I took the time to talk to his lawyer. As soon as I came to the lawyer's office, he sat down with me and directly told me the truth.
Emma, I need to discuss something important with you regarding your inheritance. Your grandfather left behind a letter specifically addressed to you.
My eyes widened with anticipation, my hands gripping the edge of the chair. What does the letter say, Mr. Spencer? Mr. Spencer retrieved a sealed envelope from his desk and handed it to me.
Your grandfather suspected something wasn't right about your marriage. He had his doubts and decided to investigate further.
My heart pounded in my chest like crazy as I carefully opened the envelope, revealing a handwritten letter inside. My eyes started to form tears as I saw my grandfather's handwriting. He has always been so effortful in showing that he cared for me. I read it silently and my face transitioned from confusion to shock. This can't be true.
I'm afraid it is, Emma. Your grandfather discovered evidence that your marriage to James was forged, a ploy to gain access to your inheritance. He wanted to protect you even in his grave.
And finally, my tears welled up down my cheeks, a mix of heartbreak and anger. My voice cracked as I held back my tears from falling. I never imagined. I thought James loved me, even before our marriage. I know he changed the moment we tied the knot, but I thought his intentions were real and pure. When he was still courting me, and Rita, his mother, they both seemed so genuine back then, but this explains why they hated me so much and they hurt me physically and verbally.
I understand this is difficult to accept, Emma, but your grandfather wanted you to know the truth and use the money to escape that trap. But wait a minute, are they mistreating you?
Mr. Spencer's tone was full of disbelief. I took a deep breath and nodded. I wiped away my tears. Yes, they do, but I know karma will soon come for them. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Spencer. I won't let their deceit define my life anymore. I will gather evidence and fight back.
I admire your strength, Emma. I will do everything in my power to support you legally. We will hold them accountable for their actions.
I stood up, my posture straightening with newfound courage. I won't let them win. I will protect myself and my grandfather's legacy. They will pay for what they have done. Mr. Spencer nodded with a sense of admiration in his eyes.
You have my full support, Emma. We will ensure that justice prevails.
I left his office. My resolve is firm and my steps were filled with purpose. I am determined to uncover the truth, gather evidence against James and Rita, and reclaim my life from the web of deceit. The next day, my grandfather was finally put to rest, and in 30 days all his inheritance will be transferred to my name and rights. But as soon as I went home, I couldn't still escape the continued physical abuse at James's hand. He kept on tormenting me about my inheritance, asking, "Where is it and why am I not giving him any?" I kept on telling him that I don't have it yet, but he slapped me instead. On several occasions, his anger would reach such heights that he would lash out at me with violent force. I would bear the brunt of his blows both physically and emotionally. The scars run deep, hidden beneath the layers of makeup and long-sleeved clothing. Even if I have the privilege of having a lawyer now, I still let them do this to me because I am gathering evidence. I secretly recorded his abuses every time I sensed that he was about to hurt me, and whenever I have bruises, I took a picture of it and compiled it. The same goes for my past bruises. And through it all, his mother watched with cold detachment. Her silent approval was fueling James's brutality all this time. She reveled in the control they exerted over me, relishing the power dynamics that kept me trapped in their toxic grip. Determined to break free from this cycle of abuse, I devised a plan to gather evidence against James and Rita. I had to be discreet, careful not to arouse their suspicions. I sought the help of a private investigator, secretly documenting their conversations and capturing their true intentions on hidden recordings. As I continued my undercover mission, the abuse from James escalated. His once controlled fury turned into a terrifying storm that raged within our home. I would cower in fear as his fists found their mark, the pain radiating through every inch of my body. But with each blow, I grew more resolute. My strength and determination were fueled by the knowledge that freedom was within reach. The day of reckoning finally arrived. Armed with the evidence I had painstakingly collected, I confronted James and Rita.
"We need to talk." I stood tall before them, holding a folder of evidence in my hands. James and Rita exchanged uneasy glances, clearly taken aback by my newfound strength. But after a second, they just smirked at me and mocked me for acting so brave. "Enough is enough, James and Rita. I know the truth about our marriage. It was all a sham, a means for you both to get your hands on my inheritance." My husband laughed, mocking me. "What are you talking about, Emma? You're overreacting." I opened the folder in front of them, revealing the fabricated marriage documents. "I have evidence, James. The forged documents, the secret conversations, everything. I can take this to court and expose your lies." My mother-in-law's face went pale as her eyes darted around nervously. "Emma, please, we didn't mean any harm. We just wanted what was best for you." "Best for me? Is this how you define love and care? Through abuse and manipulation? You both thought you could control me, but not anymore. All you think was what's best for the both of you, and that's my inheritance. You don't even care about the pain you've caused me." James's anger flared once again as he stood up harshly and took a step towards me, his face contorted with rage. He gritted his teeth as he reached for my neck, but I stepped back so that he couldn't lay his hands on me. "You think you can threaten us? We have got our ways, Emma. Don't push us too far." Just as James raised his hands once again, ready to strike me, the sounds of sirens pierces the air. My face breaks into a triumphant smile. "Oh, don't worry, James. I have taken precautionary measures. The authorities are on their way." James froze, his anger dissipating, and it is now replaced by fear. His mother clutched onto James's arm as her eyes widened with panic. Oh, it feels so good to see them becoming the underdog now. "Emma, please, don't involve the police. We'll do anything you want. Just give us a chance." My smile faded, my eyes filled with a mix of pity and resolve. "It's too late for your empty promises, Rita. You've shown your true colors for far too long. It's time for the law to intervene.
I deserve to have my justice, and I will let the law decide. Moments later, the sound of police sirens grew louder. James and Rita exchanged terrified glances, realizing their fate is already sealed. I stood tall, my voice filled with determination as I addressed them one last time. This is the end of the line, James and Rita. You will face the consequences of your actions, and I will finally find the freedom and justice I deserve. The police busted through the front door, ready to take control of the situation. James and Rita's faces turned pale further as their hopes of escape faded away. The authorities arrested them and legal proceedings followed. I stood before the court, recounting the horrors I had experienced, from the false marriage to the abuse they did to me. I presented the damning evidence that painted James and Rita as the monsters they truly were. With a swift and just verdict, the judge pounded the gavel, sealing their fate as guilty of the crimes they committed. James and Rita were convicted of their heinous acts. At that moment, a weight lifted from my shoulders, replaced by a newfound sense of liberation and justice. As the courtroom emptied, I stood there no longer a victim but a survivor. The scars that adorned my bodies were reminders of the battles I had fought and the strength I had summoned. The truth had set me free, breaking the chains of abuse that had bound me for far too long. Embracing my inheritance, I used the wealth to rebuild my life, far away from the shadows of abuse and manipulation. On top of that, I decided to work on myself, to heal and grow. I dedicated myself to advocacy and raising awareness about domestic abuse, determined to break the cycle for others who found themselves trapped in similar situations. And this to me is the greatest revenge against their abuse and manipulation, to be happy and content. A normal day in my life has yet to come to an end as the sun sets and I prepare the dinner table for my kids. It's already 7 in the evening, and my 3 children are still busy with their homework. I am so privileged to have been blessed with disciplined and responsible children. My eldest is 10, the second one is 8, and the youngest is 6. Their age gaps aren't that far, that's why the 3 of them are close. They listen to everything that I say to them. On top of that, they are respectful, courteous, and thoughtful. Their behaviors and personalities helped me a lot in raising them, especially since I'm the only one here to stand as their parent. My husband works overseas as an engineer, and I'm the only one left here at home to take care of the kids. However, they never gave me a hard time because my kids are obedient and kind. As I placed the last plate on the table, I happily looked at our table setting. How beautiful! But my smile fades as I diverted my gaze to the empty chair, my husband's spot. How I wish he was here with us at every dinner. But I understand him going overseas to work because he wants to give us a good and bright future. Everyone, dinner's ready. I called on my kids, and with excitement and every bit of energy, they shouted,
Yes, finally! Thank you, Mommy!
"My favorite food!" I giggled as they rushed to the dinner table and sat promptly and politely. I sat beside them and we gave thanks before we indulged ourselves in their favorite foods. My heart is truly happy as I see my kids enjoying the food that I made for them. These kinds of simple joys make my heart warm, and it fills the loneliness and void that my husband left me with. Oh, how I miss him. "Mommy, are we going to call Daddy today?" I smiled at my eldest. "Yes, we will, but only if you finish your food and leave no crumbles."
Yes, ma'am.
my second eldest said jokingly, and with that he immediately ate his food fastly while the youngest followed him. There is no dull time with these kids, all of them are silly and funny. As soon as we finished our food, my daughter Leah helped me in washing the dishes while the boys cleaned the dining area. After we cleaned and took a bath, all of us are ready for bed, but it has always been a tradition for the four of us talk to their dad on the phone through a video call. So after a few rings, a smiling and gentle facade welcomed us.
Hello, everyone. I miss you all.
This has become a routine for all of us. We would call my husband every night, and in this way, we were able to show each other that we love and care for each other. As the children heard his voice, they huddled in front of the phone and talked to him. They told him about their day, their new toys, and other things that make the distance between them seem to look shorter. And as my turn has finally come, my husband and I talked about random kinds of stuffs, including his work. How are you today, honey?
Work has been so tough, but a man's gotta do what he gotta do.
I smiled at him. Perhaps in that way I can ease his burden. We miss you here, hun.
I miss you guys too.
Oh, by the way, Emily's birthday is fast approaching. I saw my husband's face lit up as I mentioned Emily's name, kicking away the gloominess I saw earlier.
Yes, it is. I think, she's going to throw out a birthday bash.
With excitement, I convinced him. Go, you must go, hun. You're one of her closest friends there. You should be there. Emily is my best friend, and she's the reason why my husband was able to land a job in the States, and we are forever grateful and in debt to her. It was my best friend who had encouraged my husband to pursue this opportunity. In the first place, we had all been inseparable since college, so her suggestion held weight. But as a wife and mother that visions a good future for her family, I accepted everything and allowed him to go. And we were fortunate enough to secure my husband a good job in a good company that was able to sustain our daily needs. Our conversation went on for an hour until my husband decided to hang up because he was going to work already. Take care for today, honey. I love you. We love you.
I love you all too.
As the days grew longer and the distance between my husband and me widened, our daily video calls became my lifeline. Being married to a man who worked in the States meant we had to rely on technology to bridge the physical gap, and the time zone is our biggest hindrance. There are times when we talk to each other and it's either nighttime or his end or mine. There are also days when we can't talk or call each other, and trust is the only foundation we hold on to. Also, me and my best friend have always been so close, and she sometimes recounts to me the day of my husband whenever he is busy because they are in the same company. One particular night, as my kids and I settled into our usual video call routine with my husband, everything appeared as it should be. Everyone was happy, laughing and dropping jokes, especially the kids. They even sing along with each other like they always do. Oh, how I wish my husband was here spending time with him. My heart breaks that in every laugh that he held out, I could see the fatigue in his eyes, the same weariness that had been our constant companion during this time that we are apart. Are you all right, love? You look exhausted. I couldn't help but to butt in on his conversation with the kids. My husband sighed and I saw him signaling me to put the kids to bed because we are about to have a serious conversation. So I did. The kids bid goodbye to their dad and went to their rooms immediately.
Yeah, work has been demanding lately, but seeing your face always brightens my day.
He never fails to plant a smile on my face. Well, I'm here for you, no matter what. How was your day? I saw my husband glancing around nervously before he reverted his sight to the screen and answered me.
It was okay, just the usual stuff.
Is everything alright, love? You seem a bit off today.
No, it's nothing. Just work stress, that's all.
He kept on avoiding eye contact with me. Ryan, we promised to be honest with each other. If something's bothering you, you can tell me.
Oh, nothing, my love. Can we instead talk about your day? How are the kids?
I heaved a sigh and diverted the topic to the one he opened. I told him about the dilemmas in the house as well as the good things. Engrossed in our conversation, we shared updates about our lives, the mundane and the extraordinary. However, at the back of my mind, I know something is not right. Based on his actions, it seems like he's hiding something from me. And the time has come when we bid farewell to each other. It was time for him to go to work, and as the call neared its end, my husband made a careless mistake. He forgot to end the call, unknowingly leaving me with an unfiltered view of his true self. I waited for a few seconds, but he was just right there, leaning his back on the seat, completely clueless that he wasn't able to turn off the call. I didn't know what came to my mind, but I remained on the call as well, keeping my silence until he moved and called on someone.
Hey babe, come.
Are you done already?
Yes, come. I'm finally done talking with that boring woman.
My eyes widened as I listened to my husband, and that voice, that female voice, it's so familiar. I think I heard it before. I know who owns that very well. Does it mean this is... Oh, thank God. I'm so sick of hearing her annoying voice, always talking to you as if she's a baby. She's an old-looking twat. And then the girl's face showed up on camera. It's Emily. She approached my husband and kissed him torridly. She then sat on his lap, both of them not realizing that the call was still ongoing. I covered my mouth in disbelief and shock, while my heart was slowly breaking as I realized everything. I couldn't imagine the pain that I'm feeling right now. The screen flickered, and my heart skipped a beat. There before my eyes was my husband, calling on my best friend, his mistress. This alone is so hard to believe. This is the most grievous betrayal of all. I trusted my husband and my best friend, and all of this time they orchestrate my husband's overseas work to pave the way for their adulterous motives? I watched in disbelief as they shared intimate whispers talking about me behind my back.
Yeah, I was just thinking about not going back to our country, cutting the connection with them, and just focusing on you because you're everything that matters to me.
But what do you think ugly, boring Susan would do? I know she won't let us do that.
Well, she should know her place, and by this time she must realize that she's replaceable. I just couldn't bear pretending I love her.
The venomous words pierced through my soul, a painful realization that I was being betrayed by the two people I trusted the most. My heart shattered further as they leaned in and kissed again, oblivious to the fact that I was still there, witnessing their deceit. Aside from kissing, they were touching each other passionately, and I kept on holding myself back from crying and blowing up in anger. Anguish mixed with anger surged through my veins, but at that moment I held my composure. I needed evidence, proof of their treachery. With that, I reached for my phone quietly and hit record. The camera captured every heartbreaking detail, preserving the truth that would soon unravel their web of lies. I was crying as I recorded their scandalous deed. I couldn't fathom the depth of their mistakes. I couldn't even imagine the hatred my husband and best friend had for me, that they're capable of hurting me like this. However, during my pain, a plan formed in my mind, a plan to expose their affair to the world. This time, I will have my revenge. The door of my room opened and I saw my eldest daughter squinting her eyes. I looked at the clock and it was already midnight. She must be looking for me because she can't sleep without me by her side. She averted her eyes to the laptop and I quickly closed it down. I don't want them to see the treacherous deed of their father. Now I have to plant the seeds of my revenge. Days turned into nights as I meticulously strategized my revenge. Everything seemed so normal for him, but little did he know that behind my smiles and giggles and talks is a heart that is willing to break his. I can't let him win just like that. It's so unfair. The next time we had a video call, I decided to let our kids join, even if he insisted that it was just the two of us. I know he is just looking for the perfect time to end things with me, but I want them to unknowingly become spectators to the drama that was about to unfold. I don't want to let them know that their dad is bad, but I want them to know that he can't be trusted. I also intentionally lengthened the time of our talks, and I could see the boredom on his face. He deserves that. I want him to suffer. He doesn't want me? Then I will keep on brushing my face into his life. The next day, I decided to let everyone in our family know about his wrongdoings, so I invited everyone to a group video call. My husband was so unaware of everything, and that is the plan. I want to catch him off guard and expose all of his lies. So I sent the link to the video call as I was waiting. I prepared the materials that I'm going to reveal to them. My husband entered and the screen lit up, revealing the faces of our loved ones, unsuspecting of the emotional storm that awaited them. As soon as my husband realized that we are not the only ones inside the call, his eyes widened in shock, and he looked past the camera and mouthed something to someone behind. I greeted everyone to break the silence. "Hello everyone, welcome to our family meeting," I said enthusiastically. Some of our family members were confused and some excitedly clapped their hands.
Oh, hey everyone. I didn't know we were going to have a family meeting.
They don't know as well, Ryan, I said coldly. But everyone is here to know the truth. What's going on, Susan? You seem quite serious. Well, see it for yourself. With a deep breath, I pressed play on the recorded video. Their voices filled the room, their betrayal echoing through the speakers. Shock and disbelief painted the faces of our family members, mirroring the devastation I had felt. The truth was finally exposed, raw and unfiltered. Gasps and shocked expressions ripped through the room as everyone turned their attention to the screen, their eyes fixed on my husband, who was visibly taken aback. He brushed his hair out of frustration. Shame and guilt were seen on his face. My love, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I kept a strong composure and addressed the information to everyone. Don't call me that, because if you truly love me and our children, you will never leave me. I can't believe you would do this, Ryan, to Susan and our entire family. You were supposed to be a loyal husband and a loving son-in-law. How could you betray us like this? My father was so angry that he almost punched his computer out of frustration, but then my mother comforted him. My parents, visibly devastated, held each other for support. Tears streamed down my face, a mix of pain, anger, and betrayal. As I look at everyone's disappointment, it hurts me like hell. I wanted you all to witness this because I couldn't bear the burden of the secret alone. I deserve better, and so does our family. My husband started to sob and his voice was trembling. I know I've made a terrible mistake and I'm deeply sorry. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you all to know how remorseful I am. Sorry is not enough, Ryan. You've shattered the trust we had in you. We never thought you were capable of such betrayal. My parents, unable to speak, simply nodded in agreement with the family's sentiments. The room is filled with a heavy silence, the weight of disappointment hanging in the air. I will file for divorce, and I'm moving forward with my life. I won't let this define me. With the support of my family, I will heal and find happiness once again. The family members, though heartbroken, offered their unwavering support to me and my children, virtually every translating their warm embrace to me. We are here for you, Susan. We'll help you through this difficult time. You deserve all the love and happiness in the world. We'll stand by you no matter what. As I am being strengthened by my family's support, I wiped away my tears, realizing that I'm not alone in this journey. It still hurts me, even if I appear strong and I have the upper hand now, because the weight of my pain and the evidence in hand is living proof that my husband never loved me or respected me. But getting a divorce was the only way forward, the only path that could begin to heal the wounds inflicted upon my heart. Emotions ran high as tears mixed with anger, and our once unbreakable bond crumbled into dust. In the aftermath of that heart-wrenching revelation, my friends and family rallied around me and my children, offering support, love, and encouragement. I began the journey of picking up the pieces of my shattered life, discovering a strength within me that I had never known before. Trust was broken, but I was determined to rebuild, to find happiness on my terms. I told my children about everything, and I'm so blessed to have smart kids who understood everything very well. My husband went home and even talked to them in person, explaining everything. And I took the opportunity to take the legal proceedings into a speedy process. The court approved our divorce, and finally, I have no legal bonds to him. I also filed a case against him and my best friend, and both of them will suffer for their wrongdoings. As for my best friend, she faced the consequences of her action. The friendship we once cherished disintegrated, leaving only the bitter taste of betrayal in its wake. Our social circle, once so intertwined, now cast judgment upon her, their disapproval evident in their eyes. Through it all, I learned to trust myself again, to believe in my worth and resilience. The road to healing was long and arduous, but I refused to let their betrayal define me. I embraced the support of my loved ones, their unwavering presence reminding me that I was not alone. Together, we embarked on a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. I delved into new opportunities, rediscovering passions that had long been buried beneath the weight of my shattered marriage. While rebuilding, I found solace in the power of forgiveness, not for their sake, but for mine. Holding onto anger and resentment only served to weigh me down. So I made conscious choice to let go of the pain, to release myself from the chains that bound me to the past, and just to focus on my children and on building a safe space for them. As time passed, the wounds slowly healed, leaving behind scars that reminded me of my strength and resilience. The path ahead was no longer clouded by deceit, but illuminated by the possibilities of a brighter future. Today I stand tall, a testament to the strength that lies within us all. The screens may have betrayed me, but they also set me free, liberating me from a toxic relationship and paving the way for a future filled with genuine love and happiness. And this new mindset is my greatest revenge. My name is Rachel, and I'm 32 years old, and my husband George is 33 years old. We have always had a happy-go-lucky marriage, that is, until his parents decided to ruin everything. His parents Helena and Dave lived fairly closely to our house, but they always insisted on coming to our home to visit, which wasn't a bother at all until my in laws would come to our house all the time. When I mean all the time, I mean we eat dinner with them 5 to 7 times a week. And sometimes they come early enough to eat lunch with us. I can't escape them. Dave doesn't think it's a problem. He went as far as to give his mom a key to our house. So, when I come home from work, I see them sitting in our living room, using our TV and eating all our snacks. They tended to eat all of our food, and because of that, I had to buy a surplus of groceries, which I tell you, I don't mind it, but the problem is Helena constantly criticizes my cooking. I got so fed up that I said, well, why don't George and I come over to your house and you can show us how it's done? I said it playfully, not to start an argument. No way, the house is a mess. It's always a mess. I couldn't help but add, there was always an excuse for us not to come over.
Honey, ease up.
Well, I'm sorry. What else could I say?
How about Helena just makes the food here? It will help ease the stress when you get home from work.
I couldn't help but smile. He was at least trying. Sure, why not? Helena knew her way around the kitchen, but the cleaning part was far from her mind. It took George and me 2 hours to clean up his mother's disarray when they went home after. I should be happy that his parents are still well and moving around. My parents unfortunately passed away when I was young, so maybe I was being a little harsh on them. But my attitude quickly changed the following day. The in-laws were over as usual. They were lounging in our living room talking about George. I was in the office, trying to buy baseball tickets as the season was approaching. George was a massive fan of the sport. I didn't care much for it, but hey, he loves it, so I do too. Hey, could you show me where the salt shaker is again? I can't find it. Helena wanted to cook us dinner again. It should be where it always is, the cupboard close to the oven. I can't find it. I got up from my seat and headed towards the den that was connected to our kitchen. Helena called back, when you find it, please just put it on the kitchen table. I have to use the restroom real quick. As I said, the salt shaker was where I had last put it. I shook my head in dismay. Helena entered back into the kitchen, mumbling a thank you. I grabbed a cup of water, drinking it while briefly listening in on my husband's conversation with his dad before stepping back into my office. I proceeded to buy the tickets, aimlessly trying to grasp the debit card I had left on my desk. That's odd. It was no longer there. I checked under my desk, behind the computer, and all around the floor. I began to panic. I walked briskly out of the office and asked my husband, babe, have you seen my debit card anywhere?
No, how would I know where it's at?
I left it on the office desk to buy our tickets for the baseball game. No, honey, you left it in the dining room when you grabbed water, but don't worry, I found it. She handed me back the card. That's so odd. What's odd? I didn't bring my card into the dining room. You must be silly. Why else would it be in here? Remember, you went to find the salt for me? Oh no, you must be losing your memory quicker than I am. Goodness. She teased. I may have bought it in here, but why? I soon forgot about the incident because it didn't matter really. I thought Helena was right. My husband and I went to the baseball game. So far, we have been having a fun day. Finally, we were able to be with ourselves without the in-laws. We got a bit hungry during the game, so we decided to grab some snacks at the concession stand. My husband reached for his wallet and proceeded to search for his cash.
Oh, that's strange.
What's wrong?
I set aside cash for the game specifically, but it's gone.
How much money?
About $40 to $60?
I didn't understand how it could go missing. We concluded that someone must have slipped the cash out of my husband's wallet when he wasn't looking while we were watching the game, or that it slipped out. Either possibility wasn't that believable, but who else could we blame? He paid with his debit card and we ate our food while watching the game. It was 7 o'clock when it ended, and we both were so tired. I couldn't wait to lay down in bed and get some sleep. Boy, was my plan ruined. As we entered our house, I got a whiff of smell coming from our kitchen. When I looked to the right, where the living room was, my father-in-law and mother-in-law sat and talked amongst themselves. What were they doing here? Hi, guys. Hi. I glared at George, who was staring in shock at the appearance of his parents.
Oh, what are you guys doing here? We told you we'll be out late at the baseball game. We thought it would be an excellent idea to make dinner for you two again.
You could have hosted at your house. We weren't expecting guests. Guests? We're family. I didn't think we had to announce it we came to visit. Why not? This is our home. I think it's rude to come whenever it pleases you.
Honey, no, it's fine.
Wow, you showed your true colors. Come on, Dave. Help me pack the food and we'll be on our way.
Mom, Dad, it's okay. Rachel's just a grumpy mood from staying out all day. Please stay.
I bit my tongue hard to contain my anger. I couldn't believe he was letting them off the hook. There has to be some boundaries that should be consistently met. No, it's okay. We'll leave. She packed up everything, but of course she didn't bother to clean the dishes or the kitchen. She even left the oven on. That night, George and I had a huge argument. Why can't you get it, George? They're constantly crossing boundaries and then trying to make us feel bad.
They're my parents. What do you want me to do? I'm their only child. I wouldn't expect you to understand.
What's that supposed to mean?
Nothing.
No, say it. Say that I wouldn't understand because I don't have parents. Say it. We were arguing up until 3 a.m., and our conversations went unresolved until the next night. Apparently, he told his parents they should give me space for the next day. His mother wasn't happy. George took me on a fancy dinner date as a way to say sorry, and for the most part, we were having fun. He was about to pay for our meal when I shooed his hand away. He paid for our snacks and drinks yesterday, and let me tell you, at a baseball game, food is not cheap. I put my credit card into the checkbook. My husband continued to apologize for what he said about my parents. I accepted it. He didn't say anything. It was what he was inferring about. The waiter returned with a grave face and looked at me and my husband.
Your card was declined.
What? Impossible. I hadn't used my credit card since buying the baseball tickets.
I tried the card 3 times. It's not going through. I will need another form of payment.
I looked back at my husband, his face puzzled. George ended up paying for our meal. We went straight home, where I checked my bank statements on the card. I couldn't believe my eyes. Someone was ordering living room furnitures on my card. I was over my credit limit. I had to cancel my card and everything. The unfortunate part was we couldn't track down who took my information. I was left stunned.
It happens, honey. Don't worry. They're mailing you a new card in a few days.
Yeah, I know, but it's still annoying.
I know. Do you want some dessert to make yourself feel better?
Well, of course. George went to our fridge and pulled out the freezer drawer.
Did you eat all the ice cream already?
No. Why?
It's gone.
I just saw the container this morning.
It's not here.
And then it clicked. His parents came over to our house. I got up from the couch and headed straight into the kitchen. I checked out the fridge, and lo and behold, the chicken I was thawing for tomorrow was gone, along with the salad spring mix. This is unacceptable, George. Your parents are crossing the line.
Not this again.
Why are they stealing all of our food then? He finally relented. His parents were becoming a little too much for him as well. We decided to change our locks. Again, his mother was not happy, but George was getting fed up. After a week, I began to worry about my credit card. It still hadn't come in the mail. I waited a few extra days just in case if there was a delay. After the next 7 days, there were still no signs of it. I called my bank, and what they told me was shocking. The new card was activated a few days ago. I got a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach. Someone must have gone through our mailbox and stolen my credit card. But it didn't make sense. I always pick up the mail in the morning, and the person would have to know my social security number. George found me crying in our bedroom. I didn't understand why this was happening to me, to us. The next day, I decided to go to my bank in person to pick up another card, and luckily, I wasn't technically getting charged, but still, it felt like someone was stalking us, watching our every moment and taking our money. On my way home, I decided on a whim to go to my in-laws' house. I texted George to meet me at their house after work. This way, we could have dinner at their home and they wouldn't steal our food. And since they always decided to come unannounced, I thought it was best to do the same. I knocked on their door and waited a few seconds before someone opened the door, but it wasn't Helen or Dave. Instead, I met with a girl in her late teens. Hello, is Helen or Dave home? No. My parents' names are Shelby and Kenny. That can't be right. My in-laws have been living in this house for over 2 decades. Well, I guess not anymore. We moved here last fall. That was when my in-laws started coming to our house. What's going on? I left in such a rush, already pulling out my phone to dial George's number, but I stopped before pressing the call. Helena and Dave were lying to us for a reason, but why? I know I should have told my husband about this discovery. I felt my in-laws were lying about more than just their living arrangements, and if I told George, they would continue their web of lies. I needed evidence and definitive proof. That evening, Dave and Helena came over for dinner. I tried to keep my cool and display affection I hadn't mastered in a while. After the meal, George and his parents sat in the living room drinking and watching a football game. While I was cleaning up the kitchen, I decided to do some snooping inside Helena's purse that was left in the dining room. I grabbed her wallet and hurried into my office. The football game would be on for another hour or so, so I had time. I looked at Helena's wallet to find her address. Lo and behold, it was not where I previously believed it to be. Instead, it was marked at an apartment building that's not in the best part of town. I felt terrible. Helena and her husband must be embarrassed about the whole thing. They must be short on money. However, my pity for them did not last long. As I was putting her ID back into her wallet, I decided to do more snooping. It raised more suspicions, and I was unfortunately right. I found my credit card that was supposed to be shipped to me in her money compartment. I found receipts from the furniture store and clothes. She was mooching off of us right under our noses. I began taking pictures of everything to ensure I had physical evidence for George. I put everything back the way I found it. I wanted to discuss this with my husband without them here, just in case they decided to backtrack. But it only got worse. When I stuck her wallet back into her purse, I found a slip of paper sticking out that I hadn't noticed before. I pulled it out, and to my horror, I noticed the numbers. That was my old credit card number, and below that was the amount of money they were taking from our house, such as things they were stealing, stuffs we hadn't noticed, such as aimless blankets, vases we have stuck in the cabinets. And worse, George's bank information. What were they going to do with it? I quickly snapped as many photos as possible before anyone noticed. It was one thing to need help with money, and it's another to be stealing from your own family and making your daughter in law look crazy because she wants to set boundaries. I knew what I needed to do, and it wouldn't be nice or pretty. Next week was going to be my in law's 30th anniversary, and their entire family was going to band together and come to our house. Aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and distant cousins would be making their guest appearances. Like a dutiful wife, I prepared all the meals without complaint and with so much pep in my step. But that was all going to change. When everyone was sitting down, I decided it was best to make a toast. Excuse me, everyone. Can I have your attention, please? Of course, sweet girl. George's Aunt Chrissy was always my favorite. I compiled a fantastic video highlighting Helena and Dave's love story, and I thought what better way to share the love than to share it with you. Helena and Dave looked bewildered, yet smiley they were. I played the TV, sitting quickly down next to George.
What's this all for?
Just watch. I stayed up all night for this one. At the beginning of the video, I compiled a collage of short clips and pictures of the ever so lovely couple. I decided to do a cheeky voiceover as well during the video. You've got to love my in-laws. Helena makes the best food, and you cannot forget Dave's sense of humor. Together they make great in-laws and even better parents. After the cute couple's pictures, the screen flashes to my credit card that was found in Helena's bag, along with her ID in the background. There's just one problem. Helena and Dave said it was a good idea to steal my credit card and have my husband's bank account information. The next photo is George's information, blurred out, of course, except for his name. Also in the picture were the receipts from the furniture. Everyone was too stunned to speak, especially my in-laws.
What is this?
Just relax. I don't know why my in-laws would resort to crime, but my only guess is it's because they lost their house and decided to live off mine and their son right under our nose. The video ended after that.
Tell me it's not true. Son, we're sorry.
What we did was wrong. But Rachel, this is so cruel of you in front of our entire family. She began to sob. Her sister, that was sitting next to her, began to pat her back. George was not happy with me. He said I had embarrassed him in front of the family, stating if I really cared about his parents and him, I should have spoken to them about it privately. What he seems to forget is how soft he is to his parents. He continuously excuses their behavior, and I was afraid it would only continue. Hell, he only started to care when they ate his ice cream. His attitude changed when he went over to his parents' real house. On the outside, it was a small apartment, but inside there was nice furniture, lamplights, and a brand new flat-screen TV. They were leeching off their son by stealing physical cash under George's nose. He always carries money on him. And the fiasco. We moved out of state, away from his parents. George hasn't spoken to them in over 3 years. It's unfortunate, but at least we have extra money in our pockets now. Howard, what's this? Divorce papers? Are you serious?
Absolutely, Lilia. Consider it my final present to you. I've decided to end our marriage and move on.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. After all of these years, you're just throwing me away like this?
Oh, don't be so dramatic, Lilia. You've been nothing more than a convenient source of money for me. Thank you for being my cash dispenser until now.
How could you say such things? I thought we were partners, supporting each other through thick and thin.
Partners? Please, Lilia. I've sold a tobacco store, and with the money, I'm going to travel the world and live the life I've always dreamed of. I don't need you anymore.
So everything we have built together, the sacrifices I made to pay off your debts, they mean nothing to you?
I've moved on, and you are no longer a part of my plans.
I can't believe I wasted years of my life with someone so heartless. You've shattered everything we had.
Well, that's your problem now, isn't it? Goodbye, Lilia.
Fine, if that's what you want, but remember, this isn't the end. You will repay me for all the money I have paid on your behalf. I'll make sure of it.
Repay you? Don't be absurd, Lilia. You're dreaming if you think I'll give you a single penny.
We'll see about that. I won't let you walk away without taking responsibility for your debts. You will regret underestimating me, Howard.
Just try and see what you can do, Lilia. If that makes you feel any better.
We'll see, Howard. We'll see. My name is Lilia, and this year I turned 46. For the longest time, I worked as a financial consultant, a job that provided me with a good salary and a sense of fulfillment. Meanwhile, my husband Howard owned a tobacco store that he had inherited from his parents. Our lives were settled, comfortable even, but there was always a void that seemed to linger. Howard and I had been together for quite a while before tying the knot. I was 30 years old when we got married and he was 35. In the early years of our marriage, the topic of children often came up. It was something I had always longed for, a dream that seemed to define a sense of completeness for me. But somehow Howard always managed to postpone the idea, claiming that we were not ready yet for the responsibilities that came with parenthood. At first I understood his concerns. We were both busy building our careers, and it was true that having children would require significant time and effort. But as the years went by, the urgency within me grew stronger. I watched as my friends embraced motherhood, their lives transformed by the arrival of little ones. There was a part of me that longed to experience the same joy, the unconditional love that only a child could bring. As time passed, the desire for family became even more profound. I couldn't help but wonder if I had missed out on something truly extraordinary, something that would fill the void within me. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Each moment was a reminder of the life I had yearned for but couldn't have. Still, I tried to be happy with what we had, pretending like I could cope with the doubts. On one particular day, I was searching for my missing wallet. I was in such a big hurry, and so I found myself rummaging through Howard's belongings, thinking he might have mistakenly put it in his bag. Amongst the scattered papers and other items, I stumbled upon a crumpled piece of paper that instantly caught my attention. It was a reminder to Howard about a staggering 300,000 debt. Confusion and worry immediately struck me as I tried to make sense of the situation. How could Howard have accumulated such a significant debt without my knowledge? So many questions swirled in my mind, leaving me both bewildered and concerned about our financial stability. When Howard returned home, I confronted him about the discovery, desperately seeking an explanation for this hidden burden. With a mixture of guilt and resignation, he admitted that the debt was connected to the tobacco store. During slow months, he had occasionally delayed payments, hoping that the situation would improve. However, the accumulation had reached a daunting level, leaving him overwhelmed and uncertain of how to rectify it. Though Howard assured me that everything was under control, the weight of the debt hung heavily in the air, casting a shadow over our lives. He asked me to help him shoulder the burden, emphasizing my relatively good income as a financial consultant. To be completely honest, I hesitated. I don't know if I was happy with Howard at all. However, I couldn't bear the thought of his store crumbling under the weight of the debt. I sat him down and had a serious conversation with him. Howard, we need to talk. It's about our future, about the dreams we have put on hold for so many years.
What's on your mind, Lilia?
It's about children, Howard. I have always wanted them, and I have waited patiently, hoping that one day we would be ready. But time keeps slipping away, and I need to know if a family is something you desire.
Oh, Lilia, you know how much I love you. It's not that I don't want kids, it's just, I have been so occupied with our financial situation.
Howard, if having a family is not in your heart, then maybe it's time we consider separating.
No, Lilia, please, don't say that. I can't imagine my life without you.
We have a significant debt hanging over us, and we need to be in this together. I love you, and I can do whatever it takes to build a family with you, including shouldering this debt. But I can't do that if that's not what you want.
I understand, Lilia. I have let you down in so many ways, and I'm truly sorry. If you give me the chance, I will work tirelessly to repay the debt, to provide for our future, and to be the partner you deserve.
Okay, Howard, I will give us this one more chance. But know that this is not just about the debt. It's about building a life that fulfills both of us.
Thank you, Lilia. I won't let you down.
From that moment forward, my life transformed into a relentless cycle of work and dedication. I threw myself into my career, pushing harder than ever before to earn more money, determined to make advance payments and chip away at Howard's debt. Sleep became a luxury as my mind was consumed by numbers, calculations, and other work-related tasks. As the months passed and the debt slowly began to diminish, with each payment a glimmer of hope emerged. I pressed on, holding to my commitment to rescue Howard and our dreams. The debt became more than a financial obstacle, it became a symbol of our struggles. Little did I know that this uphill battle was preparing me for an unforeseen turn of events that would challenge everything I thought I knew about my own marriage. On the day that marked the final payment, anticipation and joy swelled within me. I was so happy as I could finally lift the huge burden off my shoulder. I had meticulously planned a special celebration eager to commemorate our triumph. There was an underlying anticipation within me to mention the subject of children once more. After all, if we didn't do it then, we will never have the time to do it ever. As the evening approached, I prepared a heartfelt speech in my mind, ready to express my desire to embrace parenthood. I envisioned a future free from financial constraints where our love would intertwine with the laughter of little ones. I bought flowers and a cake before decorating our living room just to wait for Howard to come back home to a great surprise, but fate had a different plan in store for me. To my utter shock, the door swung open and Howard entered, holding a stack of papers in his hands. His face was cold. Without a word, he handed me the papers, and as soon as I looked down at them, I was speechless. They were divorce papers. A wave of disbelief crashed over me as I struggled to comprehend what was happening. Howard, what's this? Divorce papers? Are you serious?
Absolutely, Lilia. Consider it my final present to you. I've decided to end our marriage and move on.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. After all these years, you're just throwing me away like this?
Oh, don't be so dramatic, Lilia. You've been nothing more than a convenient source of money for me. Thank you for being my cash dispenser until now.
How could you say such things? I thought we were partners, supporting each other through thick and thin.
Partners? Please, Lilia.
I have sold a tobacco store, and with the money, I'm going to travel the world and live the life I have always dreamed of. I don't need you anymore.
So, everything we built together, the sacrifices I made to pay off your debts, they mean nothing to you?
I've moved on, and you're no longer a part of my plans.
I can't believe I wasted years of my life with someone so heartless. You've shattered everything we had.
Well, that's your problem now, isn't it? Goodbye, Lilia.
Fine, if that's what you want. But remember, this isn't the end. You will repay me for all the money I have paid on your behalf. I'll make sure of it.
Repay you? Don't be absurd, Lilia. You're dreaming if you think I'll give you a single penny.
We'll see about that. I won't let you walk away without taking responsibility of your debts. You'll regret underestimating me, Howard.
Just try and see what you can do, Lilia, if that makes you feel any better.
We'll see, Howard. We'll see. My world crumbled around me as the truth unfolded before my eyes. The dreams we had once shared were shattered, replaced by his selfish ambitions. Devastation turned into anger, and I left him right there and then. I was in shock. Turned out, he was just using me, taking advantage of my love and devotion for him. I was heartbroken, but I refused to back down. Determined to seek justice and reclaim what was rightfully mine, I sought the guidance of experienced attorneys. I consulted with them, figuring out how I could make Howard repay the funds I had poured into his debt. With the support of my legal team, we set out to navigate the complex web of laws and contracts, ensuring that justice was served. We were finally able to fix all the terms on the divorce papers to our liking while still respecting the laws, and we sent them back to Howard. By the time he had already moved out of our once home, I was scared and devastated. But I put on a brave face. After all, the only person who could save me was myself. Right on the next day, Howard reached out to me, complaining about the divorce papers. His voice filled with a mixture of frustration and desperation. I knew from the first second what he was going to talk about.
What kind of twisted game are you playing, Lilia? Demanding that I repay the money you spent on my behalf? This is outrageous.
Howard, it's not a game. I'm merely asking you to do what's right.
Well, this is not right. You are my wife. You were supposed to do that for me.
I am just upholding the terms of the prenuptial agreement we both signed. You remember, don't you?
Wait, what?
That agreement clearly states the financial responsibilities we would each have if our marriage were to end. If we get a divorce, you are legally responsible for paying off all the money I have spent on your behalf.
Wait, there was a term like that? I can't believe you would do this to me, Lilia. So it was all part of your master plan?
Howard, as a financial consultant, I knew the risk involved in any relationship. I never wanted it to come to this, but I couldn't ignore the potential consequences.
So you have been playing victim all this time? While secretly plotting to leave me in ruins? Is that it?
No, Howard, that's not it. I wanted us to build a secure future together, but your actions left me with no choice but to protect myself.
Protect yourself? You have left me with nothing, Lilia. Sold the store, demanded repayment, and now you're reveling in your triumph?
Howard, I am not reveling in anything. I'm proud that I didn't allow myself to be taken advantage of any longer. But believe me when I say that I never wanted it to end like this.
Well, congratulations, Lilia. You got what you wanted. You have stripped me of everything, and now I'm left with nothing but debts and shattered dreams.
Howard, I won't apologize for standing up for myself.
Please, Lilia, reconsider. Just help me out. For old time's sake?
No, Howard. I will see you in court. Goodbye. At that moment, a surge of satisfaction and triumph coursed through me. Of course, thanks to our prenuptial agreement, the court ruled in my favor. Howard had become in debt once again, while I stood poised to embark on a new chapter of my life. The tables had turned, and the power dynamic had shifted. I left Howard behind, living my life to the fullest. While Howard sank deeper into his debts, I focused on rebuilding my life, surrounded by the love and support of those who had stood by me through it all. I threw myself into my work and rediscovered a sense of fulfillment and purpose. In the midst of my journey of self-discovery, fate introduced me to a remarkable man named Daniel. He was kind, compassionate, and understood the importance of dreams and second chances. We connected on a level I had never experienced before, and as of our friendship blossomed into something more, I knew I had found a love that was worth risking it all for. We wanted to tie the knot and had a simple but meaningful ceremony at the town hall. Against all odds, in my late 40s, I discovered that I was pregnant. The news brought tears of joy and disbelief, filling our hearts with an overwhelming sense of gratitude and wonder. The journey to becoming parents in our later years was not without its challenge, but together we faced them with determination and love. Daniel stood by my side through every doctor's appointment and every moment of uncertainty. His support filled me with a sense of security and reassurance, reminding me that I was not alone in this beautiful journey. And when the day finally arrived, I held my newborn baby in my arms, and the rush of emotions washed over me. I saw the embodiment of our love, and I named her Grace. She was the grace that had guided me through the darkest moments of my life and into this incredible new chapter. In the end, I finally got the happy ending that I deserved and the family of my dreams. Ellie, hello. I'm at the restaurant. Do you want me to order for both of us? You can order, but make sure to go easy on the bills. Oh, come on, stop being so stiff.
Good evening. Are you ready to order?
Yes, I'll have the lobster and the filet mignon. Please, and don't forget the truffle fries on the side. Olivia, that's quite an expensive choice. Are you sure about this? Well, Ellie, you've got a fortune now, right? It's the least you can do for your dear sister. Olivia, I work hard for my money, just like you should. It's not fair for you to expect me to foot the bill every time we go out. We should split it equally. Seriously, Ellie, we're family. You're supposed to take care of me. It's your duty. Duty? What about your duty to be responsible and contribute to your own expenses? Well, if you can't handle it, maybe you should just stop coming out with me. You're such a buzzkill, always worrying about money. It's not about being a buzzkill, Olivia. It's about being responsible and treating each other fairly. You're such a selfish wretch, Ellie. I can't believe you're being like this. Maybe it's time for you to take a hard look at your own actions and start taking responsibility for your own life. I won't be a constant source of financial support while you refuse to contribute anything. You know what? I'm not here to listen to your lectures. You're coming to pay for me. End of story. Well, too bad. I cannot come. What do you mean? I'm abroad already. I'm not even in the country. You're on your own. Wait, what? Are you seriously doing this to me? Yes, I am. It's time you learn your lesson. Goodbye now. My name is Ellie, and I was a 47-year-old woman living in a small town. Life hadn't been easy for me since my husband passed away
when we were young, leaving me the sole caregiver for our family. My husband and I had two small kids who were both really smart and adorable. Providing and taking care of them was a tough responsibility to bear, but I did my best to make ends meet and provide for our little household. Living in the same town was my mother in law, Sarah. She had her own place nearby, along with her daughter, Olivia. Sarah had always had a soft spot for Olivia, my sister in law. It was evident in the way she showered Olivia with extravagant gifts and financial support. Even during times when I struggled to make ends meet with my part time jobs, Olivia never seemed to face the same hardships. I often found myself in challenging position. While I loved my family dearly and cherished the bonds I shared with Sarah, it was disheartening to see the stark difference in treatment between Olivia and me. As a single mother, I worked tirelessly to provide for my children, always striving to make their lives better. Yet Olivia seemed to have everything handed to her on a silver platter without having to lift a finger. At times, I couldn't help but feel a sense of resentment and frustration building within me. It was hard not to compare our situations and wonder why I had to struggle while Olivia enjoyed a life of comfort. Of course, I didn't want to compare myself to Olivia, but it was my children that I was more concerned about. I just wished I could have given them more. If I had had more support from my husband's family. Despite the struggles, I knew that Sarah's love for me and her grandchildren was genuine. I held on to the memories of the moments we shared, the laughter and the heartfelt conversations that helped forge a strong bond between us. So I continued to work hard not only to provide for my family, but also to set an example for my children. I strive to teach them the value of resilience, perseverance, and the importance of cherishing family. As time passed, I started to make more and more decent money with my blooming career. Soon, I started making enough for a comfortable life and had some to spare to save up. I started investing too, hoping to secure a better future for my kids. Olivia, on the other hand, continued to exploit my mother in law's generosity. She shamelessly spent the money Sarah had set aside for her own well being. Her lack of responsibility and selfishness were blatant, and it seemed that no matter how much I tried to reason with her, she remained oblivious to the impact of her actions on our family. It was not the first time when Olivia acted irresponsibly. In the past, Olivia went as far as dropping out of college and spending her days in parties, clubs, and bars. When Olivia stepped into her 30s, I urged her to find stability and focus on securing a stable job. Yet my words fell on deaf ears. She drifted from one fleeting opportunity to another, never showing any interest in long-term prospects. I watched Olivia reach her 40s without any career achievements on the horizon. She was setting herself up for a miserable life, but I couldn't do anything to make her reevaluate her own decisions. One day, a surprising announcement shocked our family. Olivia revealed that she was pregnant and had made the decision to move back home with her boyfriend Jason. As unexpected as the news was, it carried a mix of emotions for all of us. We were happy for them, but we were deeply concerned. How was Olivia going to be responsible for her little ones if she couldn't even take care of herself? I really hoped that being pregnant would somehow turn her into a better person, but I was completely wrong. Not much had changed about Olivia. It soon became apparent that Olivia and Jason's financial situation was dire. Jason's job alone couldn't provide the necessary support for their growing family. Desperate to help them, my mother-in-law emptied her savings to lend them a hand. It was an act of unconditional love, but it left her in a terrible position now. How's she going to fund her retirement now? Witnessing Sarah's action and knowing the strain it put on her, I couldn't stand by. I tapped into my savings and made the decision to use the money to assist Sarah and provide her with some comfort during this challenging time. I knew that material possessions wouldn't solve all the problems, but I hoped that they would serve as a source of comfort at the very least. While it wasn't easy for me to part with my savings, I recognized the significance of supporting my family during their time of need. It wasn't just about the monetary aspect, it was about offering emotional support and being there for them in the best way I could. I wanted Sarah to know that she wasn't alone and that we would face the obstacles together as a family. Just when the weight of our financial struggles felt unbearable, a glimmer of hope appeared on the horizon. Some of my decisions in the stock market had yielded positive results, and I could actually consider moving to a different country. My kids had always wanted to travel more. They had very adventurous spirits just like their parents. Plus, my career prospects would be greatly improved, and our lives would be much more exciting. It was a realization that filled me with a mix of relief and gratitude. However, amidst the anticipation and joy, I remained mindful of my mother in law. I understood that despite my newfound financial security, she still needed assistance. I made a conscious choice to continue sending a portion of my earnings to her on a monthly basis. Not long after, everything began to crumble. I discovered that Olivia had abruptly quit her job. After an argument with her manager, her decision worsened the financial strain we had worked so hard to overcome. To my dismay, Olivia saw my improved financial situation as an opportunity to shift the burden of supporting her family onto my shoulders. She expected me to foot the bill for their expenses. They would invite me out for dinners, ordering the most expensive items on the menu, fully expecting me to cover the bills. The tension between us escalated, and our arguments reached an all-time high. I thought it was just Olivia and Jason who were being nonsensical, but to my dismay, Sarah finally showed her true colors. After my argument with Olivia, I received a phone call from Sarah. Emily, it's Sarah. We need to talk. Oh, hi Sarah. What's going on? I am really disappointed in you, Emily. I can't believe you're not supporting Olivia financially when you're so well off now. Sarah, it's not that simple. I have been helping both you and Olivia for years, and it's taking a toll on me. I need to prioritize my own financial stability too, but you have more than enough now. Olivia is struggling and she's family. We should support each other. I understand that Olivia is going through a tough time, but she's made a series of reckless decisions, quitting jobs and expecting me to foot the bill. It's not fair to burden me with her financial responsibilities. She's your sister-in-law, Emily. She's family. You can't just turn your back on her when she needs help. I've been supporting Olivia for years, but it's become one-sided. I can't continue enabling her reckless behavior. You have no idea what she's going through. You're living a comfortable life now, and yet you refuse to extend a helping hand to your own family? I thought you were better than this. Sarah, I have done everything I can to support both you and Olivia, but it's reached a point where it's affecting my own well-being. I can't keep sacrificing my own happiness and financial stability for someone who doesn't show any responsibility or gratitude. Well, maybe it's time for you to think about what family truly means, Emily. We have always been there for you, and now you're turning your back on us. That's not fair, Sarah. I have always appreciated your support, but I need to take care of myself and my own future. I can't believe you're being so selfish. Your late husband would be disappointed in you. Don't bring him into this, Sarah. I loved him, and I know he would have wanted me to prioritize my own well-being. Fine, do whatever you want, but remember, family is supposed to be there for each other. True, but support goes both ways. I hope you can respect my decision and understand that it's not an easy one for me to make. Feeling trapped and suffocated within this toxic dynamic, I couldn't help but contemplate severing the financial support I had been providing Sarah. I began planning my escape, contemplating a move overseas where I could find solace and rebuild my life on my own terms. It was a difficult decision, but I knew that I deserved peace and the opportunity to pursue my own aspirations. In the midst of the chaos, I sought solace in the memories of my late husband. I recalled his love, the strength of our bond, and the value we held dear. I found the courage to take charge of my own destiny, to break free from a toxic environment. I refused to talk to both Olivia and Sarah, making it clear that I didn't deserve that type of treatment. A month after they went no contact with me, Olivia invited me to dinner again, saying that she's sorry. Something in her tone told me that she was just lying, so I came up with a plan. At that point, I had already planned out my move and made arrangements that worked for my kids too. Everything was ready for me to live the life I wanted. So I played along with Olivia's apology, allowing her to show up first and order everything she desired. It was a test of her sincerity. That day, Olivia eagerly awaited my arrival at the restaurant before finally giving me a call. Ellie, hello. I'm at the restaurant. Do you want me to order for both of us? You can order, but make sure to go easy on the bills. Oh, come on. Stop being so stiff.
Good evening. Are you ready to order?
Yes, I'll have the lobster and the filet mignon, please. And don't forget the truffle fries on the side. Olivia, that's quite an expensive choice. Are you sure about this? Well, Ellie, you've got a fortune now, right? It's the least you can do for your dear sister. Olivia, I work hard for my money just like you should. It's not fair for you to expect me to foot the bill every time we go out. We should split it equally. Seriously, Ellie? We're family. You're supposed to take care of me. It's your duty. Duty? What about your duty to be responsible and contribute to your own expenses? Well, if you can't handle it, maybe you should just stop coming out with me. You're such a buzzkill, always worrying about money. It's not about being a buzzkill, Olivia. It's about being responsible and treating each other fairly. You're such a selfish wrench, Ellie. I can't believe you're being like this. Maybe it's time for you to take a hard look at your own actions and start taking responsibility for your own life. I won't be a constant source of financial support while you refuse to contribute anything. You know what? I'm not here to listen to your lectures. You're coming to pay for me. End of story. Well, too bad. I cannot come. What do you mean? I'm abroad already. I'm not even in the country. You're on your own. Wait, what? Are you seriously doing this to me? Yes, I am. It's time you learn your lesson. Goodbye now. It was time to sever the ties that bound me to their irresponsible and manipulative ways. I made the difficult choice to cut off Olivia and Sarah's financial lifeline. Months passed and I heard whispers of Olivia's return to the workforce shortly after giving birth to her child. It seemed that the reality of her situation had finally caught up with her. Meanwhile, Sarah, left without the support she had grown accustomed to, was forced to move in with Olivia and Jason in an attempt to save on bills. They seemed to be struggling in keeping it together, but they never apologized to me. Behind my back, they still thought that I was a selfish wrench, but I didn't care anymore. They were the ones who would be miserable for the rest of their lives because they couldn't even take responsibility for their own actions. It was a bittersweet realization that I had done everything within my power to change the course of their lives, but ultimately it was up to them to decide what they wanted to appreciate and push away. I embraced my newfound freedom and focused on living my best life. My kids fortunately got along so well with the international friends in their new school. Our lives were just beginning, and I was more than excited to experience what's more to come. And I was so proud that I had chosen my own well being and peace of my own little family over their never ending demands. And in doing so, I had finally found the freedom to live life on my own terms.